Hello, hello. All right, let's get this going. Setting up a few things. There we go. That's more like it. All right, so we have, courtesy of our Taylor DevGal, a couple of new model revisions for Emmy here. Just bringing those up right now. All right, so Emmy here has two phases. Let's see. I'm gonna move my mic just a little bit. Let's see if this is any better. Pardon the noise. Okay. Alright, so yeah, as I was saying, Emmy here has two phases. She has her casual, also known as Twitch phase, which has her in this cozy, very lighthearted outfit. We can see here, she's just doing her thing, enjoying her space. But she also has a much more in charge outfit in beautiful latex. Now, one of the things that we do when working on these experiences is work on the facial expressions. Now, by default, you get these expressions. Here, I'm going to bring this over so we can see a little bit better. Let's see, I'm going to bring this to right about here. By default, we get to see all of these beautiful things. Like, she blinks, she winks, and all these fun things. But all these are great for expressions like happy, sad, surprised, and such. We need to expand it significantly so it features a full range of facial expressions for the facial motion capture that we do for performances. For example, if we go back here, we can see on this particular Emmy model that we've already gotten some level of that already. So I'm going to click on her, and you'll see that there's a lot more shapes. We're going to add even more today. We're going to add the motion capture shapes and return the original shapes that came with the Emmy's team when we were working on this. So yeah, it's going to be quite a night. Let's see. I'll make sure I have this here. Let's get up close so we can see her talking. I'm gonna mute her voice so we can focus on just the lip sync. Now, this is great for syncing up lips and blinking and expressions and looking around. But on top of that, we need to add some additional expression. And so that's why we're going to be bringing in the original expression shapes. Let's see here. Now, the first thing I got to do is source this file. So I'm going to select its original file, which is right here. And then bring in one of the new ones. I'm going to call this one New Shapes. Now this is an untested FBX file, and so I'm not entirely sure what we're going to get, but we'll soon find out. First thing we got to do is tell Unity what it is this is, so it gets a little bit confused. We're going to tell it that it's a humanoid avatar. Alright, looking good. And let's see what we can do about the materials. Yeah, we don't really need those since we've already got those. Alright, so we're going to bring her in the exact same spot. Now you'll see that she's all pink, and not her regular pink. This is because the names of the material IDs has changed since the last time we messed with this. That's okay, because we have these materials. We have these beautiful materials. And so, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the body, and I'm going to bring in, let's say, sparkle. Belt, that can go here. And then body, this is an important one. And choker. Now you'll see that she still looks very pink. Why is that? Well, we have a layer here called default, and certain lights play with certain layers. And right now, if we were to go over here, we'll see that the ME that's properly lit is set to character. This is to help me sort things out in lighting so I'm not having to fight with various systems. So let's go on to the next object here. So let's see. We did body. Let's do eye pupils next. Let's see, no, that one we don't actually do. So hair ponytail, that's the next one. And then we go up here to the same one. And we lock that into place, so we can place the things as we need them. And we need hair clip, which goes into material ID number 3. So we're going to go back over here, unlock this, set this to character. I did not unlock it before, and we want it to apply to all of the things. See, that's way better. Just typing a thing. All right. Now we're going to take a look at her hoodie. Now I really like this hoodie. It's right up there with ViRo's hoodie for me. I just want one of these like all the time. All right, let's see. This one seems to have one material, which makes this really easy. Let's stick this in here. All right, let's see how this is looking so far. Yeah, that's looking right. Now her head doesn't look quite right. Let's fix that. We gotta have a head. And then we select the original head. Let's see. Alright, so we've got first go in the teeth. Let's hide the blend shapes. First one is the teeth. And the next one is the face. And then it's the face again. And it's the brow. Let's take a look. See, you get some nice rim lighting there. She's not in the right place right now, so the lighting is not really focused on her at the moment. But that's okay. Greetings, the VTuber. This time I have a microphone. It's not a very good one. It's just off of a webcam, but hopefully it'll be a little easier to follow along this time. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at these original pupils here. And this one over here. We're going to set this to right here. Yeah, that's nice and dynamic. Now, if we take the pupils and duplicate them, we're going to call this one fire. Now, Emmy has this really cool effect that I like a lot in her eyes that makes them look like they're on fire. We're going to take this special material and put it right over top of that. And we're going to zoom in so we can take a look at what we were talking about. See? That's pretty cool, don't you think? I think so. But we don't have that on all the time. We want that to be only when appropriate. So. Alright, let's take a look at her shorts. Then this one, we're going to go here and give her the belt loop base color 1 and belt loop base color 3. Okay, let's take a peek. Okay, that's looking good. Let's take a look at her fingernails. Yeah, that's some good detail there. That's absolutely correct, Trixie. Speaking of amazing LewDtubers, hello Trixie Nova, and welcome to Unity 3D with Brave from ViRo Playspace. Okay. Now I should have done this at the beginning here, but we're going to take a look at her new face blend shapes, make sure they're doing what they need to be doing. Let's see. Gonna click here, and we're going to take a look at all of these lovely expressions. So we have all the ones I had before, but now we have like make the lips thinner, lips fuller. It's good for making pouts. Narrow. Some smirks. Some winking. And some blink happy. Now this one is one of my favorites with Emmy because she's always happy as she closes her eyes ever so slightly. It looks very sly. I love it. And then we have the surprise look. And the calm look. And then your standard blink, which doesn't look all that different from calm. Stick her tongue out. Usually best with open mouth there. Let's see if jaw open works. Yeah, it looks like we have all of our regular blend shapes. I'm making her talk here. This is not how my animation works, but yeah. Excellent. Now, as some of the people here who watch Playspace or watch me develop and talk in our Discord and Lovelies all over the place, they know I tend to put in a lot of late night hours working on this stuff, so I am going to be making some weird sounds here over the mic in just a moment. This is me adjusting the chair to 0G mode, and this is to make sure that my back survives the long development night, but that is all good. Right? It has that mischievous, playful vibe. I love that. All the grinding sounds are the chair. Okay, that's way better. Okay, here we are. Now let's see what happens. We gotta set her up so the animation knows what to do with her. So we're gonna go into the original one we had here and just kind of duplicate what we were doing there. So we have the pupils here, and we're gonna minimize that here for a minute, and expand her skeleton a little bit. Neck, head. There are a lot of head things in here. I don't think they honestly belong in here, so this is interesting. Yeah, they are just empty game objects. I will optimize that later, but for now, we're just going to leave them there. We're just going to go in here and disable them. This one too. Alright, so now animation requires a hierarchy when it comes to all of this fun stuff. So we're going to go into the head and make a duplicate here called face animation. We're going to look at the okay, so it's got a zeroed out transform here, so we're just going to go up to face animation and just reset this, and that should give me everything that I needed to. Now I'm going to go in here and remove head. So we don't want the head from that model. We want the head from the model we're working on. So I'm going to go in here, duplicate this, disable the original, because we only need one. We're going to stick this into here. Now this is a skinned mesh render, so it really doesn't care where it's at. But I need it here for animation purposes. See what else we got in here. So we got the eye pupils. Now we could do a clever thing where the eye pupils are animated in sync with the face animation, but I'm going to do something better for that later. Right now her eyes are going to be pretty static. So we're going to go in here to where the pupils are. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this. Make sure I get the right ones here. Stick those under here as well. That way they're all in the same place. They're all doing the same thing. And we're going to disable the original one. And that is so if we ever update the FBX, everything else updates automatically. We don't want to mess up the original hierarchy wherever we can. Alright, so now that we have that in place, I should be able to take this new lovely Twitch version and overwrite the old one, and then go in here to face animation and overwrite the old one. Let's see if this works. Alright, so right off the bat, I see that the character animation seems just fine. And that's a good thing. We want that. I'm going to take a look at OBS here real quick, make sure it's on a preview so I can see what you guys can see. You know what, I'm going to scoot this inspector over to the other side. That way you guys can see the end result a little bit better. And I'm going to scoot in this so you can at least see one of the inspectors. Now the bottom half of OBS, that's my entire screen. So if you want to see the entirety of what it is I'm doing. But I tend to focus on something, so I leave those at the top. Let's see, we want this about here. No, that's a little too restricted for me. Let's add another inspector on the other side so we can bring in the image just a little bit. We don't want you missing out on anything cool. There we go. And I can always use more inspectors. Now, one thing I might do is remove this inspector completely. Stick it over here. That way everything shifts over. So I can have all of the timeline that I could ever want right here. Yeah, I'm liking that a lot. One more inspector for good measure. Okay, we have another one over here already. Now the reason why I have so many inspectors is I'm going back and forth between things all the time. And so, and when you have a screen this wide, it comes in handy. We're going to set this to a free aspect. There's no reason to limit that sucker. All right. Now, I'm going to give this a little more thorough a test here. Autosave is kicking in, so we're going to have to wait just a moment. Here we are. Alright. Let's take a look at this lovely face. See if there's any blend shapes that are on that shouldn't be on yet.
I was getting a bit for. Look at what we have here. You have good timing. I was getting a bit bored playing all by myself.
Alright, so I'm seeing an issue with her teeth model, so I'm going to take a close look. It's got the wrong material on it right now. Or it's completely missing. So let's fix that before we do anything. I don't want her to look like she's missing her teeth. That would be sad. Alright, so that's the issue. We got put on a different ad ID. Doesn't seem like it. So I'm going to delete some of these materials until I see some. Alright, so that's the right one. Alright. Let's try this guy. Right, those are for the eyes. This one is labeled teeth, but all I see is tongue. So chances are what happened here is that during the export process, something happened with the teeth. So the next thing I could do is inform the Taylor dev that there is an issue with the teeth blend shapes. But these things happen. That's why we test these things. All right, so they're here. So what this means is that her teeth are assigned to certain blend shapes, but they're not currently working quite right. So Alright, so that helps us narrow down the issue quite a bit. What we're going to do is take a look at her head. Yeah, so as far as the blend shapes, the 52AR kit Perfect Sync blend shapes. Now, Perfect Sync is an interesting term because these blend shapes originated from a software piece called Phase Shift that Apple bought back in the 2013 region. And they also bought the rights for, or the company behind PrimeSense, which is the 3D dot projection. And so it all originates from the Phase Shift software of about 52 blend shapes, and it's a pretty common standard right now. Now let's see which one of these lovely blend shapes is giving us all of the grief. So we're going to go into edit here, open up the blend shapes. We're going to turn off the preview and timeline, so we're not getting any animated keys. First thing we're going to do is just open her mouth. Now, let's see, say I see, this seems fine. So it's not this one. But generally, you don't have all of these going on at the same time. And you'll see that the teeth move subtly, and this is to prevent them from clipping through lips. Generally speaking, our upper teeth don't move at all, but our lower ones do with the jaw. Let's see, one of these has to be... So what I am seeing here is that a lot of these pull teeth back. Alright, so... Alright, so here's what the issue is. So if you look closely at her upper teeth, you'll see that each one of these has them go back just a little bit, you know, just this subtle tiny bit. And it's not that big of a deal. But that becomes more of a problem when you start bringing in more and more blend shapes. You can see they're subtly going back further and further and further until there are no teeth left. Now, this is a disturbing expression. Let's go with something a little more realistic here from some motion capture data. So we're gonna back up here. And so her teeth are actually there, but they're super far back because we've got so many blend shapes overlapping. And that's what happens when you have a subtle motion in all of the blend shapes that's not supposed to be there. Now, I've already informed the 3D modeler, and she's handling it right now, so... We're gonna turn off the preview. And I'm gonna zero all of this out. go. And so while she's working on this particular model, let's go ahead and bring in the new version of the Latex. All right. This one's called Latex New Shapes. Make it a humanoid. It's much the same process as we did with the Twitch version here. So we're going to go later in the preview when she's in latex mode. Autosave kicking in. All right. All right. Latex new shapes. Okay. Set this to character so we can see what's going on. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is set up her materials to the ones I've modified for this particular experience. So we're going to close these bud shapes. And we're going to lock this in place. We're going to go up to this body and lock that into place. Now the original body includes her face expressions and her body and stuff. We separate things out to make things a lot easier for us to adjust as we go. And so I'm going to remove this mask first and foremost. Let's make sure her teeth are working. Now, the bounding box on this is being quite odd, so I can't seem to focus on it. That's okay. I'll just do a manual override. And this is partially because I have so many inspectors open. Unity tends to have a little bit of a fit. All right, let's take a look at these bud shapes. We'll start with opening up the jaw. Right, so now we can see her teeth. And if we move, say, this a little bit, all right, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so I'm not seeing the teeth move back with this one, and that's a good sign. I think this one's going to be perfectly fine. So let's take a look at this using her. Yeah, we're going to be great for this one, so that's good. I'm going to report to the tailor dev that this only seems to be affecting the casual Twitch one. All right. So with that said, let's get her material set up because we want her to look as gorgeous as Emmy here. But let's start with closing her jaw, shall we? Let's do that. There you go. All right, Emmy. Let's get you hooked up. Gonna minimize the blend shapes. We'll deal with those later. Now, these are not, unfortunately, in the same order. So we're going to delete. All right, that's for the eyelashes. Let's go ahead and stick that in here. That way we can tell what's what. If I delete this one, chances are that's the teeth because their mouth is closed. So we're going to go ahead and assign that to teeth. Okay. So far, so good. Oh, I put it in the wrong slot. That goes in here. We're going to delete this one. Now that's for the eyes, so we're going to find the face, which shares a slot with the eyes. Yeah, see, that's already looking better. This is so much fun. Let's see. All right, so I'm going to turn this off for a moment. We have to find all of the materials here and assign them to the right things. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is find the hair. There's the hair. Pretty sure. Yep. And let's find the material for it. Nope. That's for the little band. We want those to go in the first slot, apparently. Oh, yes, that's looking better. Back hair was right next to Metal Harness 3, which, if I do recall, she uses for the bands. So I'm gonna delete. Nope, that's for the choker. What about this one? Is this the right one? Nope, that's also part of the choker. And this one, yes, it is. We're gonna stick this in here. There we go. Let's see. I'm getting a message here. And now it would seem like one of the other developers has made some cupcakes and has taunted me with a photo. So I might have to ask them to bring one to the studio. But for now, I must continue my quest with Emmy here. Now, let's fix these pupils while we're in here. She's got amazing looking eyes. We want those to be as vibrant as we can get them. Here we are. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so the original one is hooked up to her body. We're just gonna use the pupil materials that I had earlier. Let's see, not from Latex, but from Twitch. New shapes all the way to her. Here we are. See what material that is. It's that one. Alright, so we click these guys again. And then we stick this material right here. That's more like it. Let's see. Latex root. This is the original one. We are going to unlock these parameters, these inspectors. Alright. We're going to take these pupils and duplicate them. Same for the head. Well, bam! Now, this is just so as I make modifications to the hierarchy, if there's any update from the FBX, like from the Taylor dev, it will automatically populate. And we have these extra things again, and here we don't need those. Alright, so game object, create empty child, which sounds so weird every time I say that. Face animation, create another, and call it group transform, and then we will be sticking all of these in here. Rename this to head with an underscore. And pupils. Alright. And we're going to find her original ones and turn those off so we don't have things rendering twice. Now the rest of her body is looking a little unlit. We can't have that. We cannot have that at all. So we're going to find materials. Latex. Let's put on some latex. That's already looking better. Now we have 5 materials, and they're not individually named here, so let's see which pieces do what. Alright, these look like fingernails. Now, her fingernails are nice and sparkly. Go into the original body here. Find which one is the sparkle. Before I do that, though, I'm going to unlock her again, or enable her. Then relock that inspector. Now I suspect the one called Sparkle is the sparkle I'm looking for. Oh, I can see that this material was not properly assigned there. That's fine. Alright, so if I were to go in here, see these lovely things. Oh, just one moment. Uh, So that amazing cupcake that I was talking about earlier was just delivered to me. Vaguely named components are the bane of my existence. And often my fault, so I can't really blame anybody but myself. Alright, so Sparkle. If I delete this, I believe her fingernails turn pink. Yes, so that's how we know we got the right one. Now, one of the other things you can do in Unity, instead of trying to figure out where in the list it goes, you can take the material and just drag it over that component, and it'll guess where you want it. In this case, it was the first in the list, so that makes things a little bit easier. All right, let's delete that. That's not what I wanted to do at all. That one is not showing me anything change, so... Okay, Unity's being a little weird here. Every now and then it gets a bit confused when you have so many things. Alright, so that's what we want from there. It's the base of her collar that we're looking for next. I'm guessing it was one of these metals. Harness metal 3 potentially. Let's delete that too. Nope. That's the outside. We want the inside. Let's try this one. That's the right one. Accidentally turned off my chip tunes for a second. It's like not being able to breathe if I don't have those. Alright, that goes there. Now I'm gonna delete this one. Alright, that's the outside one. That's harness metal 3, I believe. Right, I am. Excellent. Now what is this one? Delete! Ah. This is an important one. Now you'll see that her feet are sticking out here. We'll be fixing that. Let's see if we can find the source of this material. Okay, I'm not seeing anything, so we're just gonna leave it deleted for now, so if I see something bright pink later, then I'll know what it's from. Right, so this object here, I'm gonna grab this guy. Duplicate it, copy its transform data, copy that component. And then we're gonna go into this Emmy. And find that duplicated object and stick it in here. Nope, that's the wrong spot. Try again and paste component values. Did I put it in the wrong spot? That definitely does not look like it worked. Whoa, there is a difference in scale here. Just a bit. Let's minimize. Yeah, and the pivots are way off. Okay, so Note to self. Have a conversation. With the Taylor Def to see exactly why. Oh, there we go. That's my problem right there. Thought that seemed a little odd. Zero this out. And scale is not supposed to be that high. I'm going to have to investigate why there's such a big difference in scale, but for now, I'm a little lazy. And so we're going to put this terms of service object, you know, since this is YouTube, we have to be, even though it's not showing anything, you know, it's good to be safer than booted. It was the Taylor dev. I will send her your hugs. All right. I think this Emmy is in business. Now, this expression here is cute. So, we're going to go in here and see exactly which blend shapes were used for that. And then just apply it to our new one. And they should technically look the same. And if they don't, that's something for us to work on. All right, so blink happy is set to 67.4. I'm thinking 67 is probably close enough. And then she also has CHS set to 100. So we're just going to take that and move it all the way. And then lips thin to 23. We have success. Now, this Emmy model is using the puppeteering trick where the eye pupils are behind the eye a little bit, so it looks like it's always looking at you. It's a neat trick. Unfortunately, it does not work in virtual reality because we have a wonderful thing called depth perception that will completely ruin that effect. You see how far back the pupil is from the front of the eye here? That and the whole eye itself, including the white, is basically a bowl on the inside. And that's to give the impression, again, that the pupils are following you no matter what angle you're at. But we can't use this, unfortunately. So instead, we're going to put the eye pupils out front and use real spherical eyes here. And then we're going to have some lovely scripts and animation that animate these. But if you're looking towards the player, it'll look towards the camera. So yeah. One of the differences. But that's all good. Now, I want to take a look at the scale here because we have... I'm going to turn off the preview first. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Unity. I wanted to go out in the middle of nowhere. That's cool. That's exactly what I wanted. Let's turn on. Alright, latex root is on. Turn that one on too. Alright, so not sure why she is way up there and posed, but you know, I'm guessing she has her reasons. We're going to put her in her original pose, so I'm going to bring in a lovely little script that our coder made called the character poser. And I'm going to go down here and just tell her to go into a T-pose. T-pose for me, Emmy. Thank you. Then we're going to do the same thing. I don't need this anymore. We're going to do the same thing to this Emmy. Character poser. And we're going to T-pose. Well, bam! Yes! This will let us see if there's any additional differences between the two. Alright. Now we're going to put them in the same space. I'm going to put Emmy in here and zero her out. Alright. It would seem that during the process of making the new blend shapes, some of the root objects have changed their transform, so I'm going to take this back out. Just going to zero this out too. I'm almost nervous doing so because I think some of this was used for animation purposes. Well, it looks like it's overridden anyway, so non-issue. Awesome. 0, 0. And 0, 0. And it would look like she went back into her stance. Now, did I say you could do that? No! Apply that T-pose. She really likes that. I'm just gonna keep that on you. Alright, so I am seeing a difference in scale here. I'm not sure I took that into account. I think I did. Yeah, I did. Okay. That's good to know. So, with that difference in scale being what it is, we're going to apply that to the new Emmy as well. All right. Now they should basically be identical in scale. Not entirely, though. Could be a perspective change here, but what I'm going to do is we're going to take a look at, even better yet. We're going to take this animation of Emmy here, and I have a duplicate here, so I'm just going to unmute this, and I'm going to stick in the new one, and they should overlap, and if they don't, then we have a difference in scale. Alright, so if we turn off this Emmy, what do we see? We see Emmy, and there's a slight difference in facial expression here, but that's normal. So it looks like the scale is the same. That's good. Makes my job easier. I still find it funny that her feet are poking through right now, but I will fix that later. Alright, so I can go ahead and turn off the original Emmy Latex. I'm going to keep it in there for reference in case I need something from it, like her physics rig and all the other things that are great at making her move. I'm going to remove the character poser since we don't really need that anymore. Yeah, so it was the scale is different because when Emmy performs, I think they found it a little more visually appealing to have her a bit larger than life when she's in latex mode, just ever so subtly. And so I want to honor that when they have a aesthetic choice. I am not about to overwrite that. I might do some things to enhance how the latex reflects the scene, so you get some nice bounce and things. But anything that they put effort into to make things what makes Emmy special, I'm going to keep that. So, and that includes having a slightly higher scale. Part of that is due to the platform of her shoes as well, though. So her feet technically are hovering up here, and to compensate for the difference in height, chances are there was just a subtle scale. I am noticing her terms of service box here is distracting me with its box collider. Remove that component. Wha-bam. Alright, I'm going to test her face animation. And it's going to be a little weird because I'm going to be using animation for something that's completely not part of... ooh, I've got more animation than I recall. Not part of this face, but you know what? That's okay. This is just for testing purposes anyway. Alright, so I'm not seeing any face animation. What is this hooked up to? Oh, that's hooked up to the wrong object. That would explain why. Because I made a new one. Wha-bam! Alright, so that is now on face animation. Helps if I spell head correctly. That's head. There we go. That should give her some expression here. Let's take a look. Alright, so that's a bit disturbing. Timeline. Let's take a look at her head object. And turn off the extra blend shapes that I just left going and doing their thing. Alright. Alright, so that particular animation probably doesn't fit her expression too well. Let's just take one I know was working earlier. I'm going to stick that in here. I'm going to mute her voice since it is definitely not in sync right now. Now, some of these expressions might seem a little off or exaggerated, and that's stuff we tune after we've got everything synced up. What I mean by tuning is going here, and then we add things like a little bit of smirk, or let's see, I'm going to add a little bit of that blink happy into place. And narrow it just a little bit. And that stuff just kind of all works in together, so we can get a little more of a pouty face with certain things, or a more surprised face in other lines. It depends on what it is she's saying at that moment. And we'll go in bit by bit and make sure the expression matches the performance. Alright, I'm going to mute the mic for just a moment and I'll be right back. And the mic is back on. Boom, 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 boom. I had to thank the tailor dev for the cupcakes before she left. Oh man, that is great expression there. Her team did an amazing job. Let's take a look at the animation. Look at all those keyframes. All right. A little bit of asymmetry. And this is a good sign. We see in Unity here in the inspector that all of these are kind of blue, and that means that there's keyframes for it. That means that all of these blend shapes were named properly and they're all being used in one way or another in this animation. Now, one thing I'm noticing in this face animation right away is that it's rare that her mouth closes fully. And usually what that means is that the keyframes for jaw open don't quite reach 0. So I'm going to take a look at the curves here. And you can see that the lowest frame is still way up there in the 10s. That's not supposed to be the case. We want her to close her mouth every now and then. So when the performance is all said and done in animation, we'll go back in here and make sure that all of these are set to a range that makes sense. We'll look for anything that has a weird expression, any frame here, and find out which blends are being the problematic blends. Because we don't want anything that's just really weird and out there. But yeah, she's definitely looking cute. Love it, love it. They're sporting her terms of service. Gotta go back into the timeline here since I get better performance that way. Alright, I'm going to take a screenshot here for the Discord so they can see. Exactly what's going on. Alright, so tonight we have brought in 2 new models. Models that have a lot more expression than your standard 52 blend shapes from Playspace AR kit. It has the additional ones brought in by Emmy's team, the ones that really give her personality. And we found that the Latex model here is properly set up, but the Twitch model we still need to do a little bit more work on to make sure that all the teeth and stuff are aligned properly. In the next stream, I think we're going to get that set up, and then we're going to start migrating her physics rigs and things like that, so her hair reacts to animation properly. We're going to start working on the materials so we can open up in certain areas that we can't show on YouTube, but we'll put another terms of service box there. We'll probably, you know, put her feet where they belong in the boots. They're not supposed to be showing there. And then we're going to start doing some more work on the physics of the chain animation. Now, to be more specific on that, all of this chain is actually physics objects piece by piece. So if I click on this and I turn gizmos back on, let's click on the chain. You'll see that each one of these has a little physics bounding box, and that allows Emmy, the player, or just the animation itself to really interact and play with the chain like you would in the real world. It's going to be quite surreal. You can see here on quick side note, Emmy's carpet is using this fur technique. This fur technique is used at 2 other places in ViRo Playspace. It is or 3 places, I'm sorry. There's the carpet in the Cabin Fever experience, the fur on Inuko, which is the cute little dog girl experience. This is the same rendering technique we use for that, and this is used for Vex Ruby's floor as well. It works pretty well, and especially on Inuko, where it animates and moves based on her motion instead of just being a static carpet like this. Excellent. Alright, so with that, I think I'm going to end tonight's stream and work on a few things that are not nearly as interesting to stream as, say, Unity and cute YouTubers. I want to give my thanks out to everybody who was here and to Emmy and her team for allowing us to work on her stuff, and I'll see you guys later.